Rhaenyra Targaryen just made a mistake that could cost her the entire war, and she does not even know it yet. Two of her own dragon riders are standing on the edge of betrayal right now, and the new trailer for House of the Dragon Season 3 Episode 5 makes it painfully clear that she pushed them there herself. A queen who once fought so hard to be seen as fair is now being shown losing her patience, losing her temper, and possibly losing to dragons she cannot afford to lose. Somewhere at Harrenhal, a broken prince everyone thought was gone is waking back up with nothing but hatred for her. And somewhere else, a green commander is rallying broken soldiers with a promise that they will not stay broken for long. This episode is not just about a battle. It is about the exact moment Rhaenyra's reign starts slipping out of her own hands. And once you understand who Ulf the White and Hugh Hammer really are, you will understand why this trailer might be showing us the single biggest turning point of the entire war. Trailer opens with Rhaenyra sounding like a completely different ruler than the one we met at the start of this season. Her patience has limits now, and she says it herself, warning whoever is standing in front of her that mercy is not something she is willing to keep offering forever. That single moment tells you everything about where her head is at after everything Tumbleton put her through. This is not the same queen who once tried so hard to avoid burning her own people. This is a queen who has been backed into corner after corner, and corners have a way of changing people. Every episode this season has chipped away at the version of Rhaenyra who wanted to rule with restraint, and episode 5 looks like the moment that restraint finally starts to crack. What makes this even more unsettling is who she seems to be directing that anger toward. Her own dragon riders, the very people she needed on her side, are being treated with the same coldness she once reserved for her enemies. And that is where this episode gets genuinely dangerous for her, because a queen who cannot tell the difference between a threat and a loyal soldier is a queen who is about to lose people she desperately needs. Rhaenyra sat the Iron Throne by convincing common-blooded dragon riders to fight for her cause, men who had never been given a title or a name before she gave them a chance to matter. But convincing someone to fight for you and actually earning their loyalty are two very different things, and this trailer is hinting that Rhaenyra never fully closed that gap. She has been short with them. She has denied at least one of them the recognition he asked for. And now, with the war getting bloodier by the week, that unhealed resentment is exactly the kind of crack an enemy can slide a knife into. Tumbleton is still bleeding into every storyline this season, and this episode picks up right where that nightmare left off. The market town that was never built to survive a siege is still standing, still occupied, and still sitting at the center of a fight that is about to decide who controls this entire region of Westeros. Ormond Hightower's forces are dug into the streets, and Daemon's men are closing in around them, which means the first battle of Tumbleton is not some distant threat anymore. It is happening now, and it is happening in a place where Rhaenyra cannot afford to lose. If this battle goes badly, it does not just cost her soldiers. It costs her the momentum she has been building since taking the throne. And it hands the Greens exactly the kind of victory they need to convince the rest of Westeros that she is not as unstoppable as everyone thought. The stakes at Tumbleton were already high before this trailer dropped, and now they are even higher. Because the outcome of this battle is going to depend on people Rhaenyra may have already lost the trust of, while Rhaenyra is losing her grip on patience. Harrenhal is waking up a threat everyone assumed was gone for good. Aemon Targaryen has not been seen since the disaster that nearly ended him, and this trailer confirms he survived, recovering at Harrenhal under the watch of Alys Rivers. That alone changes the entire shape of the war. A wounded Aemon is still one of the most dangerous men in Westeros, and the trailer wastes no time showing us exactly how furious he still is. He accuses Rhaenyra of dishonoring his house and weakening the throne she claims to protect. And he makes it brutally clear that in his eyes, she was never a rightful queen to begin with. That kind of conviction does not fade just because a man spent weeks recovering from near death. If anything, it usually comes back stronger, sharpened by everything he has had time to sit with while he healed. What makes this moment especially chilling is where he is healing. Harrenhal is not just any castle. It has a reputation for breaking the men who stay there too long, and Alys Rivers is not someone who does anything without a reason. If she has kept Daemon alive and hidden this long, it is because she sees something in him worth protecting or worth using. Either way, the alliance forming inside those walls is not a comfort story. It is a warning. A wounded prince with nothing left to lose and a woman with her own agenda are not spending this much time together for nothing. And whatever comes out of Harrenhal next is not going to be gentle. Rhaenyra has spent this season worrying about Aegon, about Ormond, about keeping her own dragon riders in line. Aemond has barely been a factor because everyone assumed he was finished. This trailer says otherwise, and once he is back on his feet, the calculation for every side of this war changes instantly. A recovering Aemond with a grudge this deep and a dragon still out there somewhere is not a subplot. It is a countdown, and Rhaenyra may not even know it has started. On the other side of the war, Criston Cole is doing what he does best, turning desperation into fuel. The trailer shows him rallying his soldiers with the kind of speech built for men who have already been through hell and need a reason to keep marching. He tells them they have endured enough and promises they are not about to lose their nerve now, pushing them straight toward the next confrontation instead of letting them retreat into fear. That kind of leadership matters more than people give it credit for. Armies do not win wars through numbers alone. They win through belief, and Cole understands that better than almost anyone left standing on the green side of this conflict. But this is not just about morale. Underneath Cole's rallying cry is a much bigger and much colder plan taking shape, one connected directly to Ormond Hightower's real ambitions. Ormond has never just been fighting to weaken Rhaenyra. He has his own endgame, and it involves placing Daemon Targaryen on the Iron Throne instead. That detail changes how you should be watching every move Ormond makes this season. He is not simply defending House Hightower's honor. He is building a path toward putting a Targaryen he can control directly into power, using the war as cover for a much longer game. Daemon himself does not seem fully aware of how deep this plan runs, and that puts him in a brutal position. He does not want to turn against his own siblings, yet with Ormond pulling the strings around him, it is becoming less and less clear how much choice he actually has left. A pawn who does not know he is a pawn is often the most dangerous piece on the board, because he moves with sincerity instead of suspicion, and that sincerity is exactly what makes him useful to someone like Ormond. If Daemon is being quietly groomed to take the throne, that reshapes the entire Green strategy going forward. It is no longer just about defeating Rhaenyra. It is about replacing her with someone the Hightowers believe they can steer. Someone young enough and trusting enough not to question who is really pulling the levers behind him. Cole's speech to his soldiers and Ormond's plan for Daemon are two sides of the same machine, one built to keep the army fighting and the other built to decide exactly what they are fighting for. Rhaenyra is dealing with a war she can see coming at her from Tumbleton. What she may not see coming is the throne itself being quietly redesigned behind enemy lines, with a face on it that most of Westeros would have no reason to distrust. Now here is the part of this trailer that should worry Rhaenyra more than anything happening on a battlefield. Because this is the mistake she cannot undo once it happens. Two names matter more than anyone else heading into this episode: Ulf the White and Hugh Hammer. Both men carry Targaryen blood. Both men swore themselves to Rhaenyra's cause back when she needed every dragon rider she could find. And both men are standing right at the center of the coming battle for Tumbleton. On paper, they should be some of her most valuable weapons. In practice, this trailer is building towards something far darker, a moment fans of the books already know as the two betrayers. During the fight for Tumbleton, Ulf and Hugh do not stay loyal. They turn, switching sides in the middle of the war and using their dragons against the very cause they once swore to protect. That is not a small defection. Their dragons are Vermithor and Silverwing, two of the most powerful beasts in Rhaenyra's arsenal. And if they burn Tumbleton instead of defending it, she does not just lose a battle. She loses to dragons in a single afternoon, along with any illusion that her dragon riders are unshakably loyal to her cause. So why would two men who chose her side turn against her now? This is where Rhaenyra's own choices start to matter. She never fully embraced Elf and Hugh the way she needed to. When Elf asked to officially carry the Targaryen name after being knighted, she refused him, denying the one thing that would have made him feel like he actually belonged among the people he was risking his life for. Hugh has not fared much better, treated with a coldness that has only grown sharper since she took the throne. These are not small slights to men who already come from nothing and already feel like outsiders in a world built entirely around bloodlines and birthright. Every time Rhaenyra treated them as replaceable instead of essential, she was quietly building the exact resentment that makes betrayal not just possible, but almost understandable. This is why the title of this breakdown calls it Rhaenyra's biggest mistake yet, because unlike Tumbleton or Ormond's army or even Aemon's return, this one is not something an enemy did to her. This one is something she may have done to herself. A queen who fought her way onto the throne by convincing outsiders to believe in her cause cannot afford to make those same outsiders feel like they never truly mattered to her. If Ulf and Hugh do turn in this episode, it will not feel like a random plot twist. It will feel like the natural, painful result of a queen who kept pushing away the very people who could have kept her in power the longest, putting all of this together. Episode 5 feels less like a single battle and more like the moment several long-building fractures finally snap at once. I do not think Rhaenyra walks away from this episode the same ruler she was going in. Whether or not the betrayal at Tumbleton plays out exactly the way the books describe it, the trailer is clearly building toward her losing something significant. Whether that is dragons, soldiers, or the last bit of trust some of her own people still had in her. I expect Tumbleton to end badly for Team Black, not because their strategy fails, but because the people she is counting on stop counting on her first. If Ulf and Hugh turn during this battle, I think the show is going to frame it less as a shocking betrayal and more as a slow-motion consequence we have been watching build for weeks, which honestly makes it hit even harder than if it came out of nowhere. As for Aemon, I do not expect a full return to power in this exact episode. I think this is the setup, the moment we confirm he is alive, recovering, and furious, with the actual return to the battlefield saved for an episode where it can land with maximum impact. But once he is back, expect the tone of the Green faction to shift from surviving to actively hunting, because a man with that much conviction and that much anger does not ease back into war quietly. On the Darren and Ormond front,